Like, I was the most responsible homeless person you ever met. My whole goal was just to start my life over. If you believe in yourself, don't listen to a fucking word anybody else tells you, like, at all.
Ronnie Harber is the founder of Mijo and TurfSurfers Jiu-Jitsu. With humble beginnings, he went from living under a bridge to building bridges, businesses, communities, leaders. Through the valley of disappointment, most people quit, but Ronnie kept moving, turning risk into rhythm, becoming a magnet to pull people together and push them forward towards greatness.
I really had to be like, okay, if I really want this dream, I need to get it now, and I need to start working for it now, because this is like, it's going to be too late soon.
So hey Ronnie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood and kind of growing up?
Sure. So, as a child, I moved around quite a bit. I started off in Visalia. I was born there, sort of like Central Valley. A lot of people know where it is if they're from California. But it's a little town that not much happens in. So I feel like we all kind of got tired of it quickly.
Yeah.
So from there I moved to Yorba Linda. From there I moved to Corona. I kind of grew up in Corona, Norco area, which is like more Southern California. And then from there I went back to Visalia, and then from Visalia I came here. And so, yeah, pretty much a lot of my life was like a lot of my upbringing and how I came from Corona and Norco, like living with my dad and stuff like that. My dad and my mom broke up when I was really young.
Yeah.
So I kind of went back and forth, but for the majority of it, I was raised and grew up with my dad.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
So from there, you kind of made your way up to San Luis Obispo at some point?
Oh, yeah. So the short of it was, I moved back to Visalia after living in Norco for a while, and then I finished out high school, like my last year of high school in Visalia, and I got a job that was in Exeter, which is like a part of Visalia. I lost that job, and I had to sort of make a quick decision. Me and the roommates and the cousin I was with at the time, we decided to just take everything we had, come to SLO. We lived in our cars and even in a tent for like about a year once we got here. And then we all kind of got jobs, settled in. And now it's at the point to where it's like all of us have our own places. We all have our own families and everything like that. But that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah. Can you talk about first, like why you chose SLO, like why you came up here? And then second, a little bit more about kind of like that in between when you were here, kind of living with your friends. What was that like?
So, why I chose SLO was because while I was living in Visalia, it's a very boring place to be. Not to knock on it for anybody that loves it, but I don't find any value in just sort of hanging around there. So, like, to escape, just like every other Central Valley tourist, we would go to the Central Coast, Pismo and San Luis area. So, like, just coming here for that escape, it sort of made me fall in love with the place, not knowing how it really is here, because when I moved here, it was like a completely different story once I settled into it. But just from what I saw, I was like, man, it would be so cool to live here. When everything fell apart in Exeter, we just finally decided that we wanted to pack up and just kind of start over in this place, no matter what it took.
Yeah.
So it was it's a very long, complicated story, but like that's pretty much the short of it. And then I kind of got lost. What was the other question?
Well, so the first question was why SLO, which
Right.
you covered. Before we jump into the other question, what's the short of that complicated story? Like, what was everything falling apart for you?
Like as far as me deciding to move here?
Yeah, just in general. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty big life move, right? To be like, I'm gonna pack up everything. I'm gonna take a chance and
100%.
move my buddies. So
yeah. So I worked at a plastic factory that made just plastic parts. I had a girlfriend at the time. I had my cousin who I just reunited with. I just saw him randomly on the street one day, and like this is like one of my best friends, and we hadn't talked for years. And right after that day, he just came and stayed with me, and we like kind of became inseparable. But I lost that job. They closed down. Basically, like the owner died, the son tried to take over. It didn't work, obviously, so they closed down. Once they closed down, I didn't have a way of securing that place, so I literally just packed up everything, came to SLO, and just lived in my car for a little bit. One day we came back to the car and it was gone, so we had to sort of switch to a tent. I lived sort of like under a bridge in SLO.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, I wasn't home. I was houseless, not homeless, okay?
Yeah.
I wasn't like a hobo. I had a job. I worked at Chipotle, and I was able to like wake up, go to the day center every day, get showers. So it was like I was the most responsible homeless person you ever met. Like the cops came and tried to kick us out, and they saw like we had like the nicest tents, the nicest sleeping bags. We had like food and stuff, and we had nice clothes. So like my whole goal was just to start my life over. I just knew I had to go through a difficult transition with doing that.
Yeah.
Once I got the job at Chipotle, I made friends there. They offered me and my cousin a room. I ditched the girl. She was trouble. So it was just me and my cousin at that point. And then from there, it just kind of trickled into me, slowly kind of building myself from there. But I really, like, it was a shit thing to go through, but man, I don't regret it at all, because it not only like allowed me to like build myself from scratch without anybody's help, but at the same time, it gave me the first glimpse of my life of what I'm capable of doing. Because like that was a hard thing for me to nail, like growing up, is just the self-confidence thing, just knowing I can do stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, you know.
Was that kind of like something that you struggled with as a kid?
Very much so. Self-confidence. For some reason, I just had this idea that I was sort of a failure my whole life. And it wasn't something that was sort of, it wasn't something that people, sort of did to me. It was just more of, I feel like, just how I felt in myself personally. I just I struggled a lot, like with school and stuff. The going back and forth with my parents was hard. Not to get into that too much, but basically, like, it took a lot of me doing a lot of things in order for me to even gain like a normal person's confidence of myself. Like I really didn't think that I was capable of doing much when I was younger.
And what kind of like broke that for you?
Certain small things that would happen in life, but a lot of it too was jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean, basic jiu-jitsu saved my life story, but that kind of put it into a bigger perspective. It just sort of helped that part of me grow even more, you know. My jobs, everything just sort of kind of it sort of created a domino effect in a good way, where it was like, oh, I could do this, well, what about this, well, what about this, well, what about this, and then slowly I just sort of realized, okay, you know, I'm capable of doing this stuff. So that, and it's just like something that I've always wanted to have. I just always wanted to be that person that wasn't scared of anything, that had the confidence that they could do anything, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm sure every person wants to be some form of that in some way or another, the best version of themselves.
Yeah, were there people in your life that you kind of looked up to at this point that you were trying to like model your life after, or like was there anybody that stuck their neck out for you or tried to like offer some type of mentorship for you early on?
Yeah. a lot of it was like I had an uncle growing up who was really good with that, and it wasn't even anything he did for me specifically. It was just the way he presented himself and the way that I saw him interact with other people, treat other people. It was just something that I wanted to be, and of course my dad too.
Yeah.
He sort of displayed those same principles and values that I wanted to be. So it's like, I mean, you know, it was just, I just wanted to be a high value person at a young age, but at the same time, not having the confidence to do it. I knew that it just wasn't something that I could do.
Yeah.
At least at that time, I felt that. You know, now that's different. But, I mean, other than, you know, like childhood superheroes and stuff like that, like it wasn't, I think it was more of an accumulation of a lot of people. Like there was a lot of people that have crossed my path in my life that have just inspired, helped, mentored, educated me that I just will never forget. Never at all.
For sure. And I think it's funny because it's so easy to forget those people until other people start asking you about your life.
Right.
And then you're like, oh yeah, this person that I never told that they had that kind of effect on me really changed the trajectory of my entire life. You know?
Yeah.
So I think I want to ask you about jiu-jitsu, but before that, I want to kind of dig into your like career trajectory a little bit. Because you were talking about, okay, you moved, you're living under a bridge, you got a job like pretty much right away. Walk me through let's go from Chipotle all the way up to like now. Like what, because you're a pretty entrepreneurial guy. You're like really good at obviously taking chances on things and then seeing things through. So walk me through kind of like this trajectory of you started in this place that was kind of unknown, but you knew what you wanted, and then working up to where you are now kind of with your career and what you're trying to do with that.
I'd say like the biggest word that comes to mind when you ask that is just all about risk. And so this is the thing. Not believing in yourself and having an unreal amount of confidence after a while can do something to you, to where you don't worry about the consequences because you have the confidence to take those risks.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure.
So I'd say like the growing of me having more faith in myself, knowing I can do that, boost my confidence, but also me growing up and having the same feeling of being a failure. I already know the lowest point I can feel. So it's like almost in a way I have nothing to lose by taking these risks as long as I have the confidence to do them. So it's like with my job, right now I'm a contractor, okay? I have a partner. He's pretty silent, but for the most part, I've wanted to be that since I was a kid. I just like building. I'm really good with my hands. I'm mechanically inclined. And it kind of boils down to one instance that I still remember, that my dad needed something fixed in his house. He called a contractor. The contractor came out. I was that curious kid when he was working that was just asking all these questions about what he's doing. And this dude just comes in and starts building stuff randomly in the house. And I just like that. I asked him where he worked. He said he works for himself. And he said he was a contractor, and that's all I remember. And I remember just telling my dad, I'm like, I want to be a contractor. I want to be a contractor. And it was just kind of so weird that as a kid, that's what you want to be.
Yeah.
But I've sort of had a vision in my life, like I said, like of who I want to be, but not only that, like what I want. Almost like it's, as corny as this sounds, and it's not something I believe in, but almost like how people manifest things. That's how it's been for me since I was a kid. I've always wanted to just be the best version of myself and have a certain way that my life goes and just kind of build towards that. And yeah, I feel like that's just sort of how it's come to be in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've kind of like been on this trajectory, because I know you and I talked a little bit ago about you were working on trying to get some type of certification or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know that before that, or maybe even now, you were working for like a hot tub type of place, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like as far as how I came up to this point,
Yeah.
I went through an array of things. Chipotle. I worked at Woodstocks for a little bit, and then I was kind of going through the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So just kind of making fast money I could, and just it wasn't really, there was just too many ceilings. Like I felt like I'd work at a place and then there wasn't much that it had to offer other than work. So I didn't have a way of building myself. That, and I didn't see any sort of movement forward in my life. I just was like paying the bills and just kind of maintaining the levels where I at, but there wasn't any progress. So I got tired of the industry, and I had a friend, Eddie, at the time, who I was doing jiu-jitsu with, and he was working for this pool company called, I just won't say their name, but it was a pool company in San Luis Obispo. And he was like, hey, these guys, they need workers, do you know how to, like, use your hands? And I was like, yeah. And so I went in there and I got a job, and I started working, and I started getting more into the construction and like the technician side of things. And it's like it sparked that part of me when I was young again. And I sort of, from there, I worked for them for close to 10 years. From there, I just sort of tried to start educating myself towards that direction, knowing that that's what I wanted now. As the end goal was to have my own thing and to do my own thing. And then after about 5 years, I asked my boss if he could approve my application for my contractor's license, and he said yes. And so then the dream just became huge, and that was like just my sole focus. And even to this day, it's my sole focus, because I'm still very much a new at the industry.
Yeah.
Especially because I have someone else that I'm working with now too. But it just really like put it into perspective again as to, if I take this risk, I feel like it'll work out, and it's been working out so far, But yeah, after about another 5 years, I knew it was time. I stacked up some cash, and then I just kind of, parted ways with them and did my own thing. But I'll tell you this, getting into it and starting my own business for the first 6 months was one of the scariest and most stressful experiences of my life. Yeah. Like, I'm not even kidding. A lot of it has to deal with me having a kid too. She really lit the fire under my ass. Like, when she was born, I really had to be like, okay, if I really want this dream, I need to get it now, and I need to start working for it now, because this is like, it's going to be too late soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that really helped. But getting just to that point was extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult. At some point, I had to think about how I was going to eat dinner that night or give dinner to my family. And it was just like, it was very hard. But I'm, again, like the risk and the reward. I've sort of come out of that now. I went from like saying I will be at your house in 5 minutes to I can't get to your house for 5 months.
Yeah.
So it's like I definitely have a lot more work now. I'm definitely over the hump of struggle, I'd say, at least for now, I'm hoping, right? But yeah, that's pretty much like how and where I'm at this point is just grateful with what I have and just getting the opportunities I have. And even in the short time I've been in it, I've met so many people and have had so much help from so many people.
Yeah.
Getting started, that it's just unreal. It's unreal the need in this industry too. Like, if you're willing to just bust your ass and you know a thing or two about how to swing a hammer, man, you will get work in this industry.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of being able to maintain it and take the risk.
And were you still working for the other place when you started this, or you just quit?
I started the LLC, and then I started messing around with side jobs. while I was working at this place.
Okay.
And then once I started seeing the potential of what I could do, I also sort of tried to get my boss in on it, and he was actually very helpful. His name's Rory. I love you, Rory. One of my mentors. But he basically, once he knew I wanted my contractor's license, just started educating me on all kinds of stuff. Almost like he was teaching me how to run a business and just showing me how he does things. I've never had a boss like that. I've never had a boss that not only was able to like just willingly give me the experience I needed to get approved, but also like help me navigate on that course, you know, and like know that he's gonna lose me, but still like, you know, people. There's not a lot of people like that.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, that's like pretty much how it went.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think people like that are really rare. And I've had a few, maybe just one. I don't know. I've had at least one really good mentor type boss in my life that really illuminated how bad all the other ones were. You know, like when you have somebody that kind of believes in you and like you said, they're willing to take a risk on you and maybe even lose a little bit of time or a little bit of money to invest in you, knowing that you're going to outgrow them at some point. But they just want to see you succeed so badly that they're kind of all in behind you, you know? And I think for me, and it's probably the same for you, like, I think that I look back at those people and say, okay, what can I take from them to kind of inspire other people around me? You know, do you have that with that type of person in your life where you say, I want one of those in my life. I want to take that character trait that this person has and kind of add that into who I am as a person.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The guy that's working with me now is that guy.
Yeah.
Another mentor. He's helping me a lot with everything right now. Like as far as like where my current situation is with my business. But yeah, even the way he talks to people, I'm like, that's what I got to work towards, right?
For sure.
And just how his scope of knowledge on everything and just how he conducts himself and like the work he does is just, it all speaks for itself. I'm a big fan of good leadership, like big fan of it. I look up to that kind of stuff. I research it. I try to self-educate myself as much as I can on that kind of stuff, especially like me being an instructor now and having that role and a business owner too. Like if I have to manage guys, you know, I want to be that person. So it's like, yeah, I definitely, there's so many faces that come to my head whenever I think of people that I sort of chipped from in order to emulate and build myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real and fake people.
Right? Yeah. Sure.
So it's like
100%. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know if I've ever talked about, but like people don't have to physically be in your life to be like a mentor to you. You know what I mean?
100, yeah.
You can just kind of envision like, what would this person tell me what to do like right now, or how would they do something and how can I kind of follow that same path, you know? So before we move off this topic, do you want to drop a plug for your business? Is it Brooks Builders? Is that what it is?
Brooks Builders LLC. I want to, but man, it's just, I'm so tied up and busy right now. Just like if any other person in the construction industry is listening to this, they're probably laughing because they know how I feel. But yeah, hit me up. If I know you, I'm definitely going to help you. And if I can't help you, I'm going to get someone who can, you know. But I'm definitely like, I'm not kidding when I say it's 5 months right now. Like I have so much crap that I'm dealing with as far as like work. Just, it's good.
Yeah,
because I'm busy. You know, I'm not sitting on my ass waiting for stuff. But it's also at the same time, man, it's real. Like,
yeah.
I'm busy.
How do you feel? And it's funny, man, because like just knowing you through the channels that I know you through jiu-jitsu, like I think we forget that we're all in our own worlds of either having jobs or families or businesses. And one of the things that I'm so interested in is how do people scale, right? Like you have this problem that's, I have more business than I can handle. And then most people are like, okay, I got to this point because I work really hard at the thing that I do. How do you, if you get to a point where I have more business, I need to figure out how to like free up some time so that I can grow the business. But then you have to trust other people. You have to bring other people in and train them and teach them. What are your thoughts on that?
I find a lot of value in controlling the controllables. There's some things that it's like, despite how much or how severe it is, it's out of your control.
Yeah.
And so, like, especially with business, I sort of keep that sort of mindset, you know? I know that if I just sit there and find things to stress about, I'll fill my head up in 5 minutes, right? So I just worry about the things that I can worry about. I know when I need to turn it off. That was something that I had to learn too. Because, you know, you'd go to work at 6 and then you'd come home at like 10:30 p.m. because you don't know how to turn it off. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I need to know that in order for me to be successful and to do myself, I need to not stress out about things I can't control, and I need to have balance in my life no matter what. Like, it can't all be work. Like, I need to make time for Brooke, my daughter. I need to make time for jiu-jitsu because that's what balances me out. That's what helps me stay happy so that I can perform the things that are important. It very much, it's about balance, and that's very hard to do. Very hard to do, especially, like I said, with my case earlier when I first started and everything was falling apart and I was like, oh shit, right? Like, I'm like, you're not going to go to fucking jiu-jitsu right now. You know what I mean? Like, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's like, at the same time, if I'm not doing any of that stuff, then I'm just, you know, I'm further making the situation worse because it's like, you know, stress can be a builder, but it can also be a destroyer, man.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. So control the controllables, and yeah.
Yeah. Can you walk me through a little bit, like, jiu-jitsu for you? It started, like, how far into you being up here in Slow did you start doing that? And how did you find it? You know, what were because I think everybody that I've talked to so far, they had to, like, overcome the hurdle of finding the right gym or, you know, always putting it off till the next year or something, you know? So, like, tell me a little bit about your story when it comes to just jiu-jitsu as a whole.
So I've always been a very physically intense kid. And growing up, it was like I was obsessed with martial arts, with fighting. Anything that was like that, I was obsessed with. I was also very much a troublemaker. I got in a lot of fights at school, right? And the crowd I hung out with in high school, they weren't they were troublemakers. I'm just going to put it, you know, as real as possible there. But basically in high school, I had friends. Nick Angeloni, who I think you met in Vegas whenever we were at one of the gyms, right? And another friend named Matt Fennell. And they were really into jiu-jitsu and just MMA. And so the friends group, you know, we would all always mess around with that stuff, just kind of amongst each other. I went and tried a couple classes at my buddy's gym, but I just had it in the back of my head as a kid that it was awesome and I liked it and I knew it was effective, right? And then I'm working at Woodstocks. I was pretty much, you know, drinking, doing drugs every day, out of shape, eating pizza every day because I work at Woodstocks Pizza. And this was in 2011. Okay, right before the Mayans were supposed to end the Earth.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And so my mom saw me. at sort of being in a low point in my life, right? And she got me a gift certificate for Paragon for my birthday, which is in May. Well, I didn't use that certificate for 5 months just because I was scared. So I literally waited till the month that the certificate was going to expire. And I went in there and gave it to them and started a 3-month trial thing for it. That's what it was for. It was 3 months. And I didn't even do jiu-jitsu. I did Muay Thai.
Wow.
And like I'd say like for the first year, not even a year, I'd say like half a year, I was just doing Muay Thai, but I saw the jiu-jitsu happening, and then I finally was just like, all right, I'm going to try jiu-jitsu. I started doing jiu-jitsu, and I instantly quit Muay Thai and just fell in love with it. Yeah, so I'd say like my jiu-jitsu journey started in 2012, and then from there it just blew up, and I'm not kidding when I say like a lot of everything that circulated around my life, down to like my job and like and stuff like that's all from it.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy how much more it gives you other than just grappling.
For sure.
If you let it. You know, everybody sees it differently, but that's just pretty much how I saw it at the time.
Were you at Paragon the whole time, or did you kind of bounce around gyms?
I was at Paragon. There was a few other places that I would go to in addition to, but that wasn't anything really serious. It was just extra training. I was 100% head over heels whenever I started. So I was that kid that was training, you know, 2 times a day, every day, if I could, right? Along with working at the pizza shop made it easy because I could kind of adjust my hours for it and train as much as I wanted. But yeah, it's pretty much been Paragon the whole time. It's different though. And I tell people this, that a lot of people that train with us don't realize that how much of a different environment our gym has to offer versus other gyms. And it's because of the body as a whole. Like, we have 5 schools that are all ran by the same instructor, well, for the most part. And so you have an accumulation of that entire body, which, if you look at it from a different point of view, it's 5 different schools. So it's like, even though it's the same school, it's like I go and I train with different people at all these different places. And I feel like that's like literally my favorite thing about it, is that it helps your training that much more.
Yeah.
You know, at least in my opinion, it does. But yeah.
Did you, because I mean, most of my experience in training with you is in no gi. Did you train mostly gi like early on and then kind of transition to mostly no gi, or?
Yeah, the script was flipped like 100%. And it's so funny because I have students that have been like here for a year, 2 years even, and they can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like I had my professor, the guy that gave me my black belt, Brent, another mentor. But he even told me, he's like, I've had to tell people that like one time you were all gi, and they just, you know, it's kind of funny to see people's faces. Even whenever I tell them that, you know, I used to be like all gi. I still train gi too. I just do it, you know, once a week, once every other week. I have so much more passion for no-gi jiu-jitsu, and training it once every while keeps me loving it. I got so burnt out on it, you know, so it's like, I get excited, like, I get to train gi today, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's funny how all the gyms kind of started flipping to offering more no-gi classes over the last 2 years, it feels like. When I started jiu-jitsu, there wasn't a single gym that was around me, because there were the 10th Planets that were spread out,
right,
you know, for a while, but they were the only ones that were like doing no-gi jiu-jitsu specifically, other than MMA gyms. You know, there was a hole-in-the-wall MMA gym in my town growing up where it was invite only. You had to crawl underneath the garage door to get in. You basically had like a jar in the middle of the gym that people just threw money into to try to keep the lights on. And
sometimes those are the best gyms.
Yeah, it was amazing. They're still kind of going today. They're called Fight Core in Martinez, luckily. But the instructors were blue and purple belts. You know, like there were no black belts at this gym that were just true jiu-jitsu people. It was like they trained jiu-jitsu for MMA. And it was wild trying to like just compare like what was going on then to now, because it was so much more scrappy. But then when I found jiu-jitsu, I guess later on, most of the gyms were gi only, and I think that was a huge barrier. Is like you got to throw on these big heavy pajamas in order to do jiu-jitsu in the first place. And then if you're in a state like I was at the time in Austin, Texas, it's not the best place to be wearing full-on gear like that. So, you know, I think that's one of the reasons that I ask people this question is when they found no-gi jiu-jitsu, what specifically kind of, I feel like, made you flip the script a little bit to no-gi? You know, what was the spark that kind of keeps you coming back to no-gi versus, you know, continuing in the gi?
It was barimbalos and heel hooks.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Breaking knees. And...
No. Although I feel like people would like that to be my answer. No, it basically a room divider here. But I feel like in a sense of being more realistic, like self-defense wise, I find no-gi more useful. And again, this is a room divider, and I can sit here and talk about it all day. But everything that you learn in no-gi can be applied in gi, but not everything I do in gi can be applied in a no-gi. And it's just because in gi I have a tool, the actual gi, right? I have a tool that I'm utilizing to help myself get the submissions that I'm hunting for, right? In no-gi, that tool's gone. A job, even in my profession, is always going to be harder without your tools, right? So I just feel like it's more realistic in that sense. And not to mention when I do gi, all that stuff still works. I have no problem kind of skimming around. Sure, I have to break grips off here and there. I got to watch where their hands go. Minor adjustments. But for the most part, I feel pretty good in how I roll. So it's like I just don't see the use of it. My fingers were getting hurt a lot. And I just enjoy no-gi a lot more. I find it's more exciting. It's more rough around the edges, and I just like that. And it's more difficult. It's definitely more difficult. When people are slippery and sweaty and you're trying to hold them down, it is so much more difficult. Now, granted, if people are stuck to you and you're trying to get them off, that's difficult too. It's just, I could stay stuck to someone for 5 minutes if I have a gi on, but in no gi, it's like, man, good luck, you know, especially if you guys are getting, it's just more scrambly and more exciting.
Yeah.
I have so many different reasons as to why I like it more. It's not just, but it's not to knock gi. It's not to say that I don't think gi's effective. If you tell me, if you say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think of a dude in a gi. If you say grappling, I think of no gi.
For
right?
sure.
I know that Jiu-Jitsu itself, pure Jiu-Jitsu, it's all formulated from the gi. So it's like, you know, it has its place. It still is effective. If you do gi, you still have great self-defense. I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just saying my personal preference and what I see personally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's interesting rolling with some of the OG black belts that are starting to do more no-gi at Paragon and watching them struggle a little bit. It almost feels like they're grasping for grips that aren't there.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which is, it's pretty funny. So I think the reverse application of like everything in no-gi will work for gi, but not everything in the gi will work in no-gi, I think is the way that I like to look at it. Like I like to train the gi every once in a while, kind of like you, where it's fun, especially some of the lapel stuff and stuff that's just not available.
Yeah, like when I do gi, like when I go into a gi class, I'm like, I'm doing gi today.
Yeah.
I'm not doing, you know, I'm grabbing the lapel. I'm trying to lapel choke you. I'm grabbing your sleeves. I'm grabbing cloth. I want to grab today.
Yeah, man. Well, and the crazy thing, like you said about your hands get pretty beat up, like I got injured more in the gi in a short span of time than I ever have in no gi.
Really?
Which I think it's because people are just stickier to you, you know? I think there's less.
Things will stay put,
Yeah,
right? There's less give,
for sure.
you know.
Yeah. So, and walk me through this because I talked a little bit with Chris Williams on this too. And you're a black belt and you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. And so what is like you and I kind of had a conversation once where I was saying, "Hey man, I feel like I'm just going nowhere. I'm not progressing. I'm not learning more. I'm not getting better." And you kind of had some advice for me on this idea of these like crests and troughs that we go through when learning something.
Yeah.
So kind of throughout your journey, what are some of the things like that that you like little words of wisdom that you have for people trying to make it to black belt or, you know, show up to a gym for the first time or struggling with, they just came back from a class where they got their ass kicked and they're questioning whether they should come back, you know?
I don't even know where to begin with that, Alec. Well, there's several questions we could ask to that. We could ask, you know, what do you define as what makes someone great in jiu-jitsu, or what do you think is important for jiu-jitsu progression? God. So, I feel like every belt. Okay, so I feel like when you progress through every belt, right, you're going to have an expectation of what it's going to take for you to get to the next belt, right? So from white belt, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to have to work on X, Y, and Z to get my blue belt. Everybody's different, I'm sure, right? But it's all relative to the same goal. So I feel like no matter what it is, right, it's going to be a combination of two things, skill and knowledge. Okay, so that's the first and foremost. If you're keeping those two things in a balance, you're going to progress, right? Skill is what you can do. Knowledge is what you know, right? So it's like I can know how the airplane goes together, but that doesn't necessarily mean I know how to put it together, right? Or I can put it together, sorry. I can know how it goes together, but that doesn't necessarily mean I can put it together physically. So I feel like jiu-jitsu progression, if you're looking at it from the way everybody else looks at it, like from how your teacher's waiting to promote you, it's a matter of how much knowledge you have and how much skill you can display with that knowledge, right? How much control you can have with that knowledge, how you can utilize it, right? So when everybody goes through certain belts, they have a certain expectation of themselves personally of what it's going to take to get to that next level. So that's their expectation of reality, right? Of what it's going to take. Then there's the actual reality of what happens, okay? There's a gray area in between those two. It's called the Valley of Disappointment. Now this is a figure that you can Google. It's very much real, and it's something that I sort of live by because it helps. But basically, the Valley of Disappointment is going to be that gray area where you feel like you're not getting anywhere, right? What you were saying before, like, fuck, I don't feel like, you know, anything's clicking.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's because you're not getting to that end result yet. But what I found is, and even on the figure scale, that if you can surpass this Valley of Disappointment, you will not only meet but exceed your expectations. And I feel like that kind of goes with the jiu-jitsu part. It's like if I'm able to just go through with all these goals, I'll not only like accomplish them, but I'll do more with it, right? And that just drives itself, right? That and my philosophy with jiu-jitsu is just so huge. Like I think about it so much. I'm an orb ponderer. So, but yeah, that and a few other things I feel like those are what I think about, or what I'm thinking about with other people as far as like their progression and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody has like their own reason for being in the room, right? So like some people are there to compete, some people are there for exercise, some people are there because their kids are there and they
Right.
thought they wanted to try it.
The
you
journey is
know?
always personal.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all like rolling with each other and kind of semi competing against each other to a degree.
Right.
You know, you're always trying to be better than yourself the previous day, but you're kind of gauging your progress based on the other people around you.
Your performance with other people.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget that not everybody's there to compete, right? Especially when you're getting older. Like some people, they don't want to get injured and be out for a year. So they have different goals than you might have. So if you're there to tear them apart, you're going to lose a training partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And vice versa. Like some people just, you know, they'll let you know, hey, we're going to roll hard this round. So if you don't want it.
Me and you.
Yeah. So I think it's, you know, that's really important to start to realize. I think it's actually, in my opinion, one of the things that I see, if I were to gauge like that moment a white belt becomes a blue belt, in my mind, it's that change from like the spastic, can't control my breathing, don't understand that I'm beating up on all these smaller people and I can't control myself, to you like switch this thing on within yourself that allows you to kind of slow down, back up. You realize you don't have to overcompensate with speed, right? You kind of are like, okay, this isn't
Control.
yeah, it's completely about whatever I want to get out of this and my partner wants to get out of it, and they are here just like I'm here, dedicating their time to this thing, and we're both trusting each other to keep each other safe but also kind of push each other, you know.
Yep.
I think some gyms don't, like, they look at it just like the technique. These guys, they know the different positions like guard, half guard, you know, a couple submissions. They're like, okay, you did your blue belt test and you're good to go. But in my opinion, when people hit that point, like, I can always tell, you know, I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
something
100%.
changed in that person.
Yep.
You know?
They exceeded their expectations.
Yeah.
And it's a big confidence boost. You see that too. You see after people have their belts, they carry themselves just slightly different. Even if it's just for a little bit of time, I've noticed that. Like the rolls are just, you can just tell they're like, I got this. Right?
Yeah.
Like when they're rolling.
For sure.
Right. The pride is there.
Or they come after you when they know you just got belted up because they want to, like, you know, prove themselves against you.
I don't know what that's like.
Okay. Just kidding. Well, and so, okay, before we talk about, because there's a couple other things I want to get into, but you, in my opinion, are one of the few black belts at the gym that you have a different mentality than many of the other black belts, where it doesn't feel like the end for you, right? Like, it feels like some black belts, they get to the black belt and they go, okay, I've reached the goal. I'll come in once a week for the next 10 years till my body breaks down, and then I'm good. You know, what's your thinking on like what a black belt is and what it kind of means to you at this point in your life? And you're 35, right? How
Yeah.
old are you? 35? So being 35 and a black belt, like, what are your kind of goals from here?
Leadership. Whenever I got that belt tied around me, it was 100% I'm one of the leaders now.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes. At least for the people that I teach, right? And that in itself is a new journey. I sort of tried to carry that presence before, just because I could tell that I was sort of gaining a following in that way. And once that happened, it became more about them and wanting to make other people better and less about me. But the kicker of it is, when I started doing that, I actually got better.
Yeah.
Like, teaching got me so much better, because in order for me to teach, one thing about me is, again, I'm really critical of my performance. Like I said, I grew up thinking I was going to be a failure. So in the back of my head, I'm always checking all these boxes to make sure that that never happens. That paranoia will always live with me. I can already tell it'll never go away, but I love it because it makes it so that I almost can't fail if I'm trying. Like, I'm so paranoid about screwing these people over or messing up their journey or not making them the best that they can be that I will just go over and out just to make sure it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
And especially from that sort of shoot, that and seeing the reward of doing it. Like preparing students for their first tournament and them all getting gold medals. That's so much better than me getting a gold medal. Like
sure.
for me. Like I 100% love that. And not only that, when I did jiu-jitsu, I didn't have the kind of support that I give people. So it was really much like I had to rely on the students that I trained with more, right? I found it hard to find mentorship directly where I was training. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that place, because I love everybody there. It's just like if we're talking about people directly reflecting your life in that sort of way, I didn't really feel that presence there. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel that presence in a lot of places, right? So it's like, it's something that I feel like is special, that rarely happens. So it's not like something that I should be expecting everywhere I go. But when I started really getting into teaching and having people sort of come to me more, and I started sort of realizing that there was sort of a reliance people were having on me, it made me step everything up more. Because like now I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure that these guys are doing good. I want to make sure that these guys are better than I ever was at that time that they were training. Like I want them to just be like, I want people to be like, damn, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
Like why is his stuff so on point right now, And it's just like that, God, that gives me so much more than just me just focusing on myself and trying to get gold medals and trying to just sacrifice my body and my time to do all this, that, and I don't have to cut weight. I can eat cookies.
Yeah. For sure, man. So tell me a little bit about, I want to know the story of how Mijo came to be.
God. Okay. So, I used to have a drinking problem. I guess you wouldn't call it a problem. I just like to drink a lot. I had a very specific group of people. I won't call them friends. I'll call them people that I would drink a lot with. And I remember one time randomly I'm at a bar and we're all drinking. And one of these guys, I'll just keep his name out of it, but he says, you should just start doing jiu-jitsu competitions in the Central Coast. And then he goes to tell me that Grappling X, which is another competition organization, used to do jiu-jitsu competitions in the Central Coast in Morro Bay and some high school. And a lot of people, they got good response from it. And so I was hearing all this, and he was saying, it was like over 10 years ago, so there hasn't been anything else since then. And so now I'm like, again, I start activating my brain of risk and creativity, and I'm just like, how can I make this happen? At that time, if you ask anybody what I would call them, it's Mijo. That's just, it's a nickname I call people. I call all my friends that. My grandma called me it when it was young. I know it's a term of endearment, so I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, and it's fun. I like to make everything fun, not be serious. So I started calling, I said, well, fuck, I gotta call it Mijo, right? And so from that point, I just started thinking of like ideas of how I could make it work, and then at just some point, I just decided to go for it, and it was horrible. Like the first competition I did, I was just like I had to call and get the insurance for the competition 30 minutes before it started. because I didn't realize I needed that.
Yeah.
Like, I had booked the venue. I had, like, scattered and gotten mats from people so I could, like, tape them all together. So, like, we're in this tiny little room in a veterans hall, you know, and the lady thought I was going to be doing, like, a seminar there. I was like, we're just going to be displaying martial arts. That's what I said. Because I didn't want her to say no. I wanted to make it happen. And then, you know, so it was like, this is the cool thing about it, though, is, like, I've done 5 events, and every single one got better because of the amount of education and support I got from the entire community. I feel like not only did I bring jiu-jitsu competitions back here, because I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I was the first. Mijo was the first, because right after us, Arte Suave started coming, AGS started coming, Beatdown Promotions started. It's like, oh, okay. You guys just came out of nowhere, huh? Yeah. No. I definitely am proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to make it happen. And not only that, I created a team from it. I had nothing but the coolest people help me do it. Like, it was like, dude, I went, every single competition at least put me $1,000 in debt. Like,
Yeah.
some people would say I'd make money, and I'd just die laughing. Me and Kim would, because we are not making a dime from any of these things we do. It's like literally sponsorship dollars and money out of my wallet, because I love doing this, right? But, yeah, we just started educating ourselves. The more events we did, let's make it better this way. We'd have people from the community pitching in on how we could get it. Dude, the amount of people that wanted us to stay was ridiculous. I thought it was going to be one and done. But after that first one ended, despite, like, if you watch it, it needs work, brother. But, I mean, regardless, go watch it. But after that, man, I had so many people wanting me to do another one.
Yeah.
And after that, like, I was like, I got to keep doing these. Everybody wanted me to keep going, keep making it better. And I'm telling you right now, we're doing the 6th one next year. It is going to be bigger than any of those ones I've ever did. It's going to be so top notch. I spent $5,000 on mats. We have our own mats now. They're brand new, wrapped up. Like, we have gear. We're going to have, the next event's just going to be wild, just because it's going to be our first event where we're actually, like, semi-professional looking, right?
Yeah.
Everything else has kind of been cookie-cuttered together, but this one, it's like everything's in play. I took this entire year off. I was supposed to throw a competition this year. I took it off just because I wanted to bring it to the next level, and I wanted all this time to prepare and bring myself to that point. But basically, yeah, I kind of got lost in what I was saying.
No, it's awesome, man. I think I've been to at least one of them, and I've watched the stream on, I think, all of them. And every one gets better. Every single time it gets a little bit better. And I think this last one, maybe the one before the one that I attended with the match with Seamus and a few guys, it was
Seamus and Kenneth Howell.
Yeah.
At the Ludwig Center. That was Mijo 3.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That one was so much fun.
Yeah.
And you guys had like a taco truck, and it was awesome, man. So
yeah, we're gonna. That's gonna be a place we do it at. But yeah, I thought that one was cool. The last one we did was it could have been better because we had to deal with the Santa Maria Fairgrounds, which I swear to God, don't do business with those people. That was just a horrible experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that? Have there been 5 now?
That was Cinco de Mijo.
Cinco de Mijo?
5th of Mijo.
Was that the quintet style one?
Yeah, that one was really good. You know what was cool is, like, sure, we didn't get the same kind of feedback we did from the audience of that one, but every single competitor that participated was absolutely stoked. Like, a lot of them even said that was the best format they've ever competed in.
Yeah.
So, like, just like, you know, for the athletes, it's as important for me to make sure the athletes have a good time as it is for the audience. Like, I want the competitors that compete to be like, dude, when's the next one? I want to do it. Like, when is it? You know?
For sure.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah. All right, Ronnie. So tell me about TurfSurfers.
So, basically, me and Kim, that's my partner. She's the one that actually, I need to give a shout out to her. She's an amazing human being. Her and her husband, Chase, they've been really good friends to me for years. She's my partner. I started Mijo with her and another guy named Abraham. Okay, Abraham's a really good friend of mine too. Love you, Abraham. So me and her sort of took off with it, right? Abraham he sort of is on his own journey of life, has other things that he's been doing with it. So he kind of sort of took a step back, like once we started getting going, but he helped me a lot with the first two. So after a while, I sort of created a team of people that were helping me do these events. And at one point I was like, you know what, just to kind of celebrate it, I wanted to plan a trip to San Diego, get an Airbnb with all these guys, and then start just going and checking out all the gyms in the area. We had done this sort of similar trip, me and you, I believe it was me and you, before we did this one in San Diego, and it was like we didn't really know what we were doing. We just came, visited, saw all these gyms, and then left. The next time I came, I was like gonna do the same thing, but it was with an entire team. So we got the Airbnb, and just the whole entire trip just made me realize that, man, like, we could kind of make something out of this, because all of us were learning so much in just that weekend's time and training everywhere. We were training at like 2 places a day, 2 different places. We'd go to like Victory MMA and then 10th Planet like right after, and then we'd look for more gyms in that area. And San Diego is a mecca for jiu-jitsu. Like, that area is just saturated with it, and I love that. It's like, if you want to just go on vacation and you train, you go to San Diego, you will have the time of your life. Like, I'm not even kidding. But anyways, we all just, it just sort of formed itself down to the name. The name even formed itself. There was one night, were you there?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. It was like 12 of us, so it's hard to, this was years ago, so it's hard to kind of tell who was exactly there and who was not. That, and you've been on several trips with me, so. But we were very hungry, and it was 3 a.m., and there was this Mexican food place, and on the menu they had surf and turf burritos, and I think it was Anthony that ordered a surf and turf burrito, and then all of us in the car, for some reason, were just like, we need to copy Anthony, and so we just all got surf and turf burritos. And so we were eating in the backyard and just joking about names, and then we were like, well, how about surf and turf? Team Surf and Turf. And I'm like, yeah, because we love the surf and turf. We love steak and shrimp, right? And then it was like, well, what about TurfSurfers? And then that's just sort of how it came to be. And I'm like, because we're surfing everybody's turf. We're going to all these different mats and rolling everywhere. And then I was like, let's make our mascot half shrimp, half bull.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it just sort of, it wasn't like it was something specific. It's definitely a team. And I like to say a pro team, or D1 team, as Kai would say, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely a team. Like, the people that are involved are people that I specifically try to focus on as students, and I help them prepare for their competitions. I do all that. But not only that, like, us going around, we're spreading jiu-jitsu everywhere we go. I haven't had one negative gym experience or one gym be like, I wish you guys didn't come. Like, everywhere we go, it's like we make friends with everybody. There's pictures being taken. We're having the time of our lives if we're all there. Now, if one of us goes to a gym, I don't know what the deal is, but like, when we as a team go to the gym, it's always, I feel like it's usually that sort of vibe. Since then, we've done a variety of different trips. We actually just did one, right? We all went to CJI together in Vegas and did the exact same thing there. But I feel like it's like a team. That's what it is. But at the same time, like what we do is just we are jiu-jitsu. Like I want to have everything. I want to do the Mijo competitions with them. I want to do gym invasions, like we call them, where it's like we come to your gym, we train, you get to roll with a bunch of different kinds of people. It's good for your gym. It's good for us. It's good for everybody. I want to go on trips. I want to make gear. I want to do everything. I don't want to be tied down to one thing with these guys, you know. And in having that sort of mentality, I feel like it's just guided us to where we are right now. That is something that we're also working on. So a lot of people haven't been seeing a lot of activity on both Mijo and TurfSurfers. It's because me and Kim have really dialed back because we're planning something really big with both of them. Okay, and it's just going to be something that I can put a lot of risk and a lot of confidence into getting done, right? But, yeah, that's like pretty much what I'm working on currently.
Awesome.
And where we're at. Yeah,
it's funny. I was going to ask you a question that you've already answered, which is kind of like what would you do if you could do what you wanted, but money wasn't like the driving factor, you know? And I feel like something that I've joked around with a few people. I think Patrick and I had a conversation the other day. We were like, man, Ronnie is a dreamer. You're like always dreaming up these like new things, and your superpower is like bringing people together in a way, like these weird groups of people where we would never hang out and talk, and then all of a sudden we're like a team, you know? And then also kind of building these crazy projects from scratch that I feel like a normal person would like throw the idea out there and they'd be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But you kind of like set it in your mind that it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, it does.
Dude, I'm as flabbergasted as you are.
Yeah.
I just try to do it. It's just like risk, dude. Like I just don't have that. I feel like it's dangerous of what I'm willing to take a risk on. Like you know, but it's like I'm just waiting for it to stop me when I'm wrong.
For sure.
Just keep doing it until it doesn't work, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, crazy, man. So I think we're going to wrap up soon here, but I want to ask you, so if somebody is kind of, let's say they're a younger you, right? And they're on this path of many things, right? You're like, to me, you're so many things. You're a father, you're an entrepreneur, you're a jiu-jitsu coach, you're like this guy that, like I said, you have these kind of really redeeming qualities about you as a friend.
Thank you.
And so I just want to know, like, advice to your younger self or somebody who's kind of on a similar path. Like, what would you say to them?
If you believe in yourself, don't listen to a fucking word anybody else tells you. Like, at all. Man, if I listened to people, I'd still be working at Woodstocks. I probably wouldn't even be a black belt right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. It's so funny. It's so funny, like, with everything I've done, the amount of support I get is one thing, but the actual amount of people that try to suppress and people that just become haters. Like, dude, me starting Mijo created haters. Like, I'd never dream that would happen at all. Like, what? We're just providing competitions for the entire community on the Central Coast, but somehow it created haters. And if I would have just stopped whenever people whispered in my ear and stuff, like, I don't even think TurfSurfers would be around, or we would have gone on trips or anything like that. Like, just, if you have a vision, and it is, like, I mean, it's decent and morally right, obviously, don't fucking listen to anybody else, dude. Like, do what you need to do. Count your circle, keep those people tight, take care of them, and just do it, man. Fuck everybody else. Like, that is the number one thing. That is the number one thing. That's something that I still think about to this day. It's just like, how? Like, I just, it boggles my mind how people can try to stop you or prevent you from trying to grow, you know? But one quote that always sticks in my mind, and I'll close it with this, is you'll never, ever meet a hater doing better than you. Ever. And the people that are doing better than me, they're my mentors.
Yeah.
You know? Because I want to be where they're at. I want to be them. I want to be better just like them. So it's like, I just don't listen to anybody. Just do what you're going to do to get it done.
Are you the type of person that gets motivated when people tell you, like, something can't be done?
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
I fucking pray for that shit. Doubt me. Please. Yeah, that's fuel. Down to, like, my work, too. Like, oh, God. You know, I'll be having a project or something, and people will say, you know, like, I don't think that can be done. I'm like, oh, you just made it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely, man. That's like, that's fuel. That's fuel to keep going. That's motivation. That and just like, yeah, as sad as that sounds. I mean, I guess it doesn't sound that sad, but yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
For sure. It's like this toxic fuel that drives you. I think people, they fall into those two categories. They either like ball up when people tell them it can't be done, and they kind of give up because they're more motivated by positive reinforcement, right? Or they're the type that, like you just described, where you're like, watch me, you know? So
You want to melt their face.
yeah.
Now I want to do it because I want to see what it does to you.
Yeah.
No.
For sure, man.
I just want to I know that if I'm proving them wrong, I'm proving myself right. And if I'm proving myself right, I'm progressing. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Is there anything else before we drop off that you want to say?
I want to say that, dude, I'm fucking proud of you. Like everything. Just who you are as a human, how good of a friend you've been to me. The amount of support and the fact that you're one of the very few people that I feel like I can rely on for stuff. I value that a lot. And your journey too, you just got promoted. Like, God, I can't think of someone more deserving than that. So I hope you know how much that I appreciate you and everything you do.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no
Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate you doing the podcast, buddy. All right, man. That's good. I think that's a perfect way to wrap up. So
Yeah.
if you're enjoying the Making Mentors podcast, please leave a like or a comment. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much for being here and supporting me on this journey.